In this video, I'm going to show you how to make homemade headers using a kit that's supplied from Speedway Auto Parts. First thing you're going to do is take small pieces like this, and then you have to fit them inside your flanges. Now I've taken the pipe here and I bent it into shape and I hammered it inside these flanges here, and then I gas welded them in. So that gives you little pieces to start out with, so you're not trying to weld on the inside. And the best thing to do is bolt your flange down so that it stays nice and tight. So as you can see here, I got small pieces to start out with for the headers. After the pieces are cut and welded in, then you're going to start taking your bends that come in a kit, and you want to cut them into smaller pieces. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I took my collector, and as you can see here, I C-clamped it to the side of my frame rail where I want the collector to come out at the car. And up inside here you can see the exhaust flanges that are already welded to the plate there. And now I've got to route that piece of tubing down here to the collector. And now I'll show you how to do that. It's just a little time consuming, but if you go slow and think about it, you should have no problems. Here's an above view of the manifold that's already bolted to the motor. And down here you can see the collector where it's C-clamped to the frame. So now I'm going to route this end one here and route it down to the collector, and then I'll show you how we do that. Here's the manifold with the tubes that I welded in, and there's a collector. Now this is the small piece here that I cut off, and I leave it a little bit long so I can see where it needs to be. I'm going to fit it into this lower pipe here, and then what I'm going to do is I have to trim it to fit here. So when this thing slides over, it'll fit both in here. Get a better shot of it right there, so it's tight against that, and it'll also fit in here. So I need to trim some of this off. Now I'm going to deburr the edge of these tubes after I cut them, so take off any edges. That way it gives you a nice clean working edge, and it's something that's able to fit up really tight. Okay, here's the second pipe, and what I did is I took some of these curves, like you see the curve here, and I cut them in half, which is what this piece is and this piece is here. And then I'm able to turn them and clock them and make this any shape that I want. So this comes in and it ducks down and it goes right next to the first one, over the top of the first one that we did. So I got it all spot welded. And then I'm going to start on the pipe number 3. And it's going to come here. It's going to come up over the top of this tower. It's going to drop straight down into here. Fourth one will come up. It's going to come up over this and drop right down and into that pipe. Now what I'm doing is I'm oxyacetylene welding these tubes together. I like to use oxyacetylene because it's more controllable. You can TIG weld them too, but MIG welding tends to burn a lot of holes, and so you don't get as good a penetration or control. So that's why I prefer to do oxyacetylene welding on these tubes. After you put the pipes in, you got to weld this all the way around. And then you're going to have to get inside and you got to weld in between those pipes. Then you got to drop down in the middle between all 4 pipes with a torch and get down in there and get it all sealed so it doesn't have an exhaust leak. Okay, I welded up the second pipe and I'm fitting the third. So I've got this piece here that's got a curve to it that goes down there to the bottom. I've got a small piece that's going to link them in between. And I have this piece here. So this piece is going to sit in here, just like this. This one's going to sit up here. And then the small piece will fit in between. And I'm going to go ahead and tack those together and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I get this one tacked into place. You see I got left plenty of room for my support, my upper support, and it comes back and it drops down. So now I'm test fitting the fourth one, which is going to come across, and it's going to come down and it's going to swoop down into here. So from the profile over here, you can see everything's going to clear just like the one on this side here. We have plenty of room. Header pipe 3, and I got it all welded up, and it's heading back down. So now I got to get right down in there. You see that last hole? Got to feed this other piece up. It's going to come in through and bend over here. So I'm going to attach all those pieces, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, the next step is I'm going to take my MiG 175 by Eastwood here, and I'm going to weld this flange on. Here I went in and put a little weld on there. But this is the flange. It's for the collector, so I figured I'd go ahead and MIG weld it, and then I'll go ahead and gas weld the rest of this, and then show you what the final product looks like. Okay, here I'm going to show you just exactly what it's like to get down in here. I got to fish this torch right down into that crack right there. You got to get way down in here, in between the tubes. It's probably best to look this way. That little plate right down in there has got to get welded up. So I already got it welded, but I just wanted to show you what it's like to get down in there. That's why it's best to weld around all 3 of the pipes that you can, and then put your 4th one in, so you have more room. Okay, so this is the header. It's all welded up. Now, like I said, if you want to, you can dress down these welds here. I've got this little roll lock disc with sandpaper. Works pretty good. I'll just show you a little. As you see there, it smooths it out a lot, and then you can get it ready for paint. This one I'm going to sand it down. I'm going to paint it with some flat white, some old school white, and they ought to be pretty good. So hopefully this helps you be able to make your own headers using any kit that you buy, like the Speedway kit. You want to make sure that you have thick flanges. I think these are 3/8 flanges on here. Okay, here's the headers. I just painted them with some specialty Rust-Oleum high temp spray paint, and I did them in old school white because that's what they did back in the day, painting them white. So anyway, got a little tag on there, and got them all painted up. Just got to do the other ones now, and then we'll get them put in the car for good. They ought to sound really well. So anyway, that's the end of my video. Thanks for watching.